The real reason people buy from authors, even before reading the book, that's what we're going to talk about here. Have you ever noticed how people instantly trust someone just because they've written a book, even if they've never read it? So in this video, you'll learn exactly why writing one book changes everything for your business. Hey, I'm Michael Delano. I'm the founder of Paperback Expert. We've helped over 250 business owners become best-selling authors and use their book to grow their business year after year. And I've learned something surprising along the way. Most of our clients assume the power of their book comes from the content inside of it. They think that people will read every chapter, learn from their insights, and then decide to hire them. But that's not always how it works. See, here's what actually happens. When someone sees that you're an author and something shifts in their brain, they haven't read your book yet. Maybe they never will. But just knowing that you wrote it changes how they think about you. It changes their perception of you. You're no longer just another person offering a service. You're an expert. You're an authority. Someone who's worth listening to. And that perception, that changes everything. It gets you clients, it gets you appointments, and it gets you referrals. I'm going to show you the psychology behind why authorship is so powerful and how you can use it to transform the way people see you even before they read a single word of your book. Let's start with a simple question. Why do we trust authors? Think about it. When you meet someone at a networking event or a conference and they hand you a business card, what do you think? Probably not much, right? Just another business card. But what if they hand you a copy of their book instead? What if they say, hey, here's a copy of my book that I wrote. I'd love to give you a copy. I'll sign it to you. Everything changes, doesn't it? Suddenly, you're not talking to just another consultant or advisor. You're talking to someone who's published a book, someone who's taken the time to organize their thoughts, put their expertise into the pages of their book and put it out into the world. And your brain makes an instant leap. Hey, if they wrote a book, they must really know what they're talking about. They must have something to say. That's not a logical conclusion. It's psychological. We've been conditioned since childhood to view authors as experts. Think about it. Every teacher you ever had pointed to a book and said, this is the authority on the subject. Books represent knowledge. They represent effort. They represent credibility. And when you become an author, you inherit all of that. Not because you've proven yourself in that moment, but because authorship carries a weight that nothing else does. It's called the halo effect. Authors are perceived as more trustworthy than the general population. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where one positive trait influences how we perceive everything else about that person. And authorship is one of the strongest halo effects in business. When someone sees you're an author, they don't just think, well, this person knows their stuff. No, they think this person is super successful, probably very credible, and very trustworthy. They start attributing positive qualities to you that have nothing to do with your book. And it happens automatically without them ever realizing it. I've seen this play out hundreds of times with our clients. Before they publish their book, they'd get on a sales call and they spend half the time trying to prove their credibility. Prospects would ask skeptical questions and they'd want references and they'd shop around, but after they become authors, the dynamic completely changed. Prospects would say things like, well, I've read your book. Well, I skimmed the first few chapters, but I can tell you really know what you're talking about. Or, well, I see that you're an author. That's impressive. Let's talk about working together. Notice what happened. The book created instant credibility. The halo effect kicked in, and the prospect was already halfway sold before the conversation ever started. Here's where it gets even more powerful. Once you're an author, you unlock a whole new level of social proof. Think about all the ways you can showcase your authorship. Photos holding your book, book covers on your website, your Amazon best-selling badge, media appearances where you're introduced as best-selling author, speaking events where your book is displayed, even your email signature, author of, with your book title. Each of these is a credibility signal and they compound. When someone visits your website and sees your book cover, that's one touch point. When they Google you and find your book on Amazon and 5-star reviews everywhere, that's another. And when they see that you've been interviewed on podcast as an author, that's a third. And with each touch point, their trust grows more deeply in you. Compare that to someone who doesn't have a book. What do they have? A polished website? Maybe. A few testimonials? Perhaps. A LinkedIn profile with some endorsements and some credentials? Yeah, it's fine, but it's not memorable. It doesn't differentiate. But when you're an author, you have something tangible, something physical, something they can hold in their hands, and that makes all the difference. I've had clients tell me stories about prospects who never read their book, but kept it on their desk for months. Why? Because it was a constant reminder. This person is an authority, and when I'm ready, I'm calling them. That's social proof at work, and it's one of the most underrated benefits of authorship. Now let's talk about buying psychology for a moment. When someone is considering hiring you, they're asking themselves, well, a lot of questions, but one in particular. Can this person actually help me? Can I trust them enough to hire them? And here's the thing. They're not evaluating your actual experience and expertise. They can't do that. They don't know enough about your field and about you to judge that. What they're evaluating is your perceived expertise, and perception is everything. So how do people perceive expertise? Through signals, credentials, experiences, results, and authorship. In fact, authorship might be the strongest signal of all, because writing a book requires a level of commitment that most people never make. It says, I've thought deeply about this. I've organized my knowledge. I've put my name on something permanent. And that commitment signals expertise more powerfully than almost anything else you can do. Think about it. Anyone can call themselves a consultant or an expert. Anyone can have a nice website, but not everyone writes a book. And when you do, you're immediately in a different category. You're not just another option. You're the credible option. Now, here's something I see all the time, and it just drives me crazy. Someone publishes their book, becomes an Amazon best-selling author, and then they don't talk about it. They don't put it on their website. They don't mention it in their meetings. They don't update their LinkedIn headline. They act like it's just no big deal, and they get on to the next shiny object. And I get it. All right, you don't want to come across as some arrogant, pompous guy or gal. You don't want to seem like you're begging or bragging. But here's the truth. If you don't own your author identity, no one else will. Your prospects aren't going to magically discover your book. They're not going to assume you're an expert just because you are one. You have to signal it confidently. That means putting author of book title in your bio, mentioning it in the intro to your sales calls, sending a copy to every new prospect, talking about it on podcasts at events, putting it in your email signature. Because here's what happens when you own it. People lean in, they pay attention, they take interest, they take you seriously. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to be loud about it. You don't have to put a spotlight on yourself. You don't have to shove it down people's faces and throats. You just have to mention it naturally, confidently. It's just a fact. Yeah, I actually wrote a book on it. Let me send you a copy. That one sentence changes entirely the dynamic of the conversation. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This all sounds great, Michael, but I don't have time to write a book. And even if I did, I don't even know where to start. That's exactly why I created Paperback Expert. Our entire process is designed to help you become an author and step into that authority without you writing a single word. We use what we call our speak to write process. You don't sit down and stare at a blank page. Instead, one of our professional writers interviews you. You just talk. You share your stories, your process, your expertise. And we turn those conversations into a polished, professional book in less than 24 hours of your time. Then we publish it, we make you an Amazon best-selling author, and we teach you how to use your book to attract high-value clients. The entire process takes about 6 months. And in the end, you're not just someone with a book. You're a best-selling author with the credibility, trust, and authority that comes with it. Plus, we give you a marketing plan to know exactly how to use your book to gain clients. That's when everything changes. Your marketing gets easier, your sales calls get warmer, your close rate goes up. Because people aren't just buying your service anymore, they're buying you. They're buying from a trusted author, and that makes all the difference. So if you're ready to step into the author identity, and if you're ready to be perceived as the authority in your field and not just another option, we can help. Click the link below to book a time with me. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about how becoming an author can transform the way people see you and the way you see yourself. If you've liked this video and found it helpful, please remember to hit like, subscribe, and make sure you watch the next video.